Hi there, I'm Katie for RustiKate. Today I'm going to be showing you how to go about telling the difference between the back and the front of your needle tatting. This particular video I'm going to be showing you is actually some footage I filmed quite a while ago, but I just finally had a chance to get it all edited and put together, and so I'm going to bring that to you today, which hopefully will answer a lot of questions that you guys have had. I've had a lot of people ask how to tell the difference between the front and the back, so hopefully that'll be a little bit easier after you watch this video. I hope you like this video. If you do, make sure and hit the like button, comment below if you get a chance, and if you haven't subscribed, I would love it if you would, and you could hit that notification bell and you'll get notified of all new content. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to show you the difference between the front and the back of your tatting, but before I do that I want to tell you something really quick, and this is that when you look at your work, what is the front of your rings most often is actually the back side of your chains. So when you're looking at tatting, the majority of the time, the front is actually determined by the front of the rings. So the rings usually indicate the front of your piece of work. So in this case, because we usually reverse our work between the rings and chains, these rings here, that's the front of them. This is the back of the chains. If we were to turn it over, this is actually the front of the chain, this is the back of the ring. So this would actually be the back of the work, because it's the back of the rings. You flip it over, so this would be the front of our work. And if I bring it up here, I'll show you a little bit bigger one. So here's a ring, and the way that you tell if it's the front or the back of the ring is actually by the picos. So if you look at this piece of tatting, you can see that right here in this large picot, you have clearly a double stitch, the picot loop, and then a double stitch. And there's nothing between, no spaces, nothing. It's just double stitch, picot, double stitch. If you flip it over and you look at the back side of the ring, you'll see that that's not the case. You'll see that there's actually, here's the picot loop, and there's actually thread between. Right there, you can see there's a couple threads between and making a space. And so that is showing us that it's the back. This is the back of the ring. If we turn it over again, look at the front, you can see it again. Clearly double stitch, loop, double stitch, no threads between. And if you have a join, I'll bring you down here to a join. This is actually in a chain, but this works the same way. You can see here the picots are joined, and it's the same thing. There's double stitch, picot loop, double stitch. There's no threads between. If you flip it over and you look at the back side, where picots join, you'll get this little loop. Now because that was rather small, I've tatted a ring, chain, ring with this very thick yarn to give you a demonstration of what it looks like in a larger scale. So if we look at this ring, this is the front of the ring, and you can tell that because when you look right here, double stitch, clearly a double stitch, loop for the picot, double stitch. You flip it over, you look at the back, you can see here's a double stitch here, loop, and there's a double stitch there, but there's this bunch of thread right here. There's two threads that are looping through and separating the inside of the picot. So if you take a look at that, note what that looks like. When you flip it over, back to the front, you can see double stitch, loop, nothing, no spaces, double stitch. Back side has the threads that go between the hole in the double stitch. Front side, clear, double stitch, loop, double stitch. And another way you can tell is when you look at a joined picot. On the front side, you have a joined picot. The ring that has the picot belonging to it is going to be just like we said, double stitch, double stitch. The ring that's joined to is going to have one thread going through the middle. You can see how that looks right there. One thread through the middle. Then if you flip it over and you look, so this is the front, if you flip it over and look at the back side, what you're going to see is on the back side you actually have this funny little loop where it's joined to the picot. right there. So that is on the back side, you're always going to have this little loop look where the picos joined. On the front side, it's going to be smooth and there'll just be a single thread going between. So just remember, majority of the time, your ring is going to show you the front side of your work. If it's the front of your ring, usually it's the front of your tatting. If it's the front of your chain, usually it's the back of your tatting. And that again is because of the way we reverse our work. So if you have tatting, say a doily or a snowflake or something that they don't have you reverse your work very often, then that would be a different case. But for most patterns, you reverse between your rings and your chains, and this is going to make the chain be the back side of your work. The front of the chain is the back side of your work. Front of the ring is the front side of your work.